Okay. So who was here last Sunday when we kicked off the month of forgiveness? Oh my God! Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so courageous for coming back. We are right in the middle of it. I've got to tell you, forgiveness has just been kicking my butt, you know? I mean, it's one of those things that we just have to keep relearning and praying and visiting, because something comes up, inevitably something comes up in our face, and it's like, I can forgive everything but that, right? I can forgive everything but that. There's always the but. And you know what? That's where the forgiveness is, really. Everything after the but is your story. And that's where the forgiveness needs to be. You know, so this is our monthly theme, radical forgiveness. Radical forgiveness. And forgiveness is something that love can do. Forgiveness is something that love can accomplish. Love forgives, hate resents, right? Love forgives, hate festers. So forgiveness is the job of love. Forgiveness is something that love can do. Martin Luther King said this. He said, the ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral, begetting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence, you may murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie, nor establish truth. Through violence, you may murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate, and so it goes. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding a deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that's what we're talking about today. There is only one life. It is God's life. And if God is love, that means that there is only love. Core concept 1 in our teaching says that God is all there is. And when we say God is love, that means love is all there is. Hate is not a thing unto itself. Fear is not a thing unto itself. It is an effect. It is not a cause. It is not God ordained. It's not a principle of truth. Only love is. And to quote that sage and mystic, Yoda, fear is the... No, I can't say it. I can't. I'm sorry. I really can't do it. I can't do him. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Now, I know it was a puppet, and I know it was Frank Oz's voice, and it was cute and adorable, but it's truth. You know, I mean, it's truth. Richard Bach, right, said, you know, you get your truth where you get it, you know, wherever that is, whether you're quoting Yoda or Snoopy. Truth is truth. Fear is the path to the dark side. We know this. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Love is all there is. God is all there is. And in first cause, when we're talking spiritual principle, there is no opposite. God has no opposite. There isn't God and anything. And if God is love, then there is no love and anything. Think of it as a continuum. There is only love. And at one end, you have the most extreme, unconditional, most outrageous love in the entire world, right? At the other end, you have the least amount of love you can possibly express. We call it hate. We call it fear. We can call it something else. But it's just the least amount of love showing up in our lives. That's all it is. Because love is a divine principle and no opposite exists. God is all there is. Love is all there is. And yet, on the human level, at the level of effect, in the three-dimensional world, time-driven, linear world in which we live, there are entire industries that have grown up to protect us from something. There are entire industries designed to sell us fear and hate. And they're doing quite well, actually. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Be afraid of the stranger. Be afraid of the other. Be afraid of immigrants. Be afraid of terrorists. Be afraid of viruses. Be afraid of, I don't know, something else. I'm sure there's always something else. And there's entire industries that have grown up to do that, to keep us in that level of fear, keep us in that level of hate, keep us in being afraid. And this is truly why the gun industry is thriving. You know what I say, it's gun control, it's mental illness, it's this, it's that. No, it's fear. It's fear. Underneath all of that, because when you ask somebody why they have a gun, what is the first thing that they say? Well, to protect myself. Well, protect yourself from what? From the other, from the fear, from the danger, from the terrorism, from the whatever. Everybody's buying into the fear, and it's fear-driven. Some corners of infotainment in this country fan the flames of fear so that we will buy whatever it is that they're selling. Right? Hey, it's cold and flu season. Don't forget to get your flu shot. Because I'm afraid of getting the flu. Everything is fear-based. That's why the gun industry is selling so well. The bottom line of advertising is the simple lie. You are not okay the way you are. You are not okay the way you are. You need this product. You need this new pill. You need this new car. You need this new attitude. You need this weapon. You need this because you are not okay the way you are. They need to sell us something, and the something we need because we're not right, we're not good enough, we're not right enough, we're not okay the way we are. And it works. It works. We've bought into that idea that we need something outside of ourselves to keep us safe. We need something outside of ourselves to make us whole. We need something outside of ourselves to make it okay. But remember this, there is no adequate defense against an imagined threat. There is no adequate defense against an imagined threat. You can stock all the guns in your house you want. It's not going to do anything, against the boogeyman in the closet, or the monster under the bed, or the shadow on the wall. Because anytime we look outside of ourselves to make ourselves whole and safe, we're looking in the wrong place. Love is found within us. Power is found within us. Safety is found within us. Self-esteem is found within us. It's all found within us. Everything is found within us. We are whole, perfect, and complete just the way we are. And if we're looking and clutching at things all around us to make us feel a certain way, we're off the track. We've gone off the rails already. If we think we're not safe enough without it, we've already gone off the rails. We buy what they're selling because we think it'll fix us. It'll make us better. So how do we recover from this condition? How do we recover from this? Because it says in the Bible, right? A house divided against itself cannot stand, and that's what we're doing. We're dividing ourselves. Oh my God, I am everything. I'm whole, perfect, and complete. I'm spirit and form. Oh crap, I'm really, really scared. I need this thing to protect me. We must awaken to the group hypnosis of human race consciousness that there is anything to fear to begin with. And this kind of vulnerability requires us to stand open-handed and open-hearted and as undefended love in the world. Can we do that? Can we do that? Here's the thing. Danger is real, right? Danger can be real, but fear is an effect. It has no power in and of itself. We can choose to go into dangerous situations. Many of us work in dangerous situations. But fear is an effect. It's not a cause. It has no power of itself. So we can choose out of fear, or we can choose out of faith. We are always at choice. We are always at choice. And when we know we are enough, when we know within us is this power of spirit, whole, perfect, and complete, and we're operating from that sense of I am, there is nothing to fear. And we're always at choice. Spirit is forever saying to us, you pick the game, and I will play with you there. You pick the game, and I will play with you there. You want to play fear? We can play fear. You want to play wholeness and health and happiness? I will play with you there. So who's playing what? You know, when you were little, we used to play cowboys and Indians. I don't know, that's how old I am, right? We used to play cowboys and Indians. We used to play cops and robbers. I mean, this was like the real stuff out in the backyard, not the, this stuff. We used to play good guys and bad guys. We used to play King of the Hill, right? So we used to play all of these things, and it was always this duality, right? Good guys and bad guys. Oh, bang, you're dead, and then you get up and you play something else. So when are we going to play Saints and Sages? When are we going to play Friends and Lovers? When are we going to play Good and Better? Right? We don't need this oppositional thing anymore. Fearful people look out on a fearful world. Happy, joyous, loving people look out on a loving world. It's the same world. It's the same world. So it comes from within us. Go back to core concept 1. God is all there is. God is all there is, and God is love. Therefore, love is all there is. Love is cause. Hate and fear are effects. They are nothing. They have no substance. They are a condition. And what do we know about conditions? They change all the time. They change all the time. Fear and hate is not self-sustaining. Fear and hate are not self-sustaining. They need our energy to drive them all the time. And what we can do is we can choose love, because love transforms hate. Love transforms fear. Love shines the light on it, and it dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. We cannot hold these two contradictory thoughts at the same time. We cannot love and hate at the same time. We cannot love and fear at the same time. It's impossible. Ernest Holmes, in this thing called You, said this: the marvelous teaching of Jesus is not quite so soft as it sounds. His words are statements of the great law of cause and effect, laws that produce justice without judgment, the inevitable result of laws that work with mathematical certainty. You cannot love and hate at the same time, nor can anyone else. Therefore, this human of wisdom said that the light overcomes the darkness. The darkness does not overcome the light. Darkness only exists in the absence of light, right? As soon as you turn on a flashlight, that's it. You light up the entire cave, all the bats go wild. That's what the light does. It dispels the darkness. It dissolves the darkness back into the nothingness from which it came. It does not exist. There is no dark scale. There isn't any dark measurement. We can only measure light. We only measure light because light is all there is. We can hold one and we can act from it, or we can hold the other and allow it to flow into our existence, to flow into our experience of life, and transform all of it. Hate and fear are reactions. Love is an action. Look, the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life have been times when I've tried to manipulate situations, tried to control people, tried to manipulate the outcome. Those times, do you ever have those times, or is it just me? I'm like, oh God, I'm standing up here naked. Those times when you look back on it and you go, ooh, this was unskilled behavior. Man, I could have done that better. When you tried to make something happen because you wanted it to come out a certain way because you were invested in it. There have been times I look back on my life and I go, oh, that was ugly. Okay, I could have handled that better. That was my unskilled behavior when I tried to manipulate situations or people, or manipulate, the effects to get what I wanted, to get the payoff that I thought I needed to get out of that situation. When we do that, we have gone off the rails. We have just totally gone off the rails, It's all about getting back at people, or getting the situation you think you want, or you think you deserve, or trying to even the scales, or whatever it is. When we release that and just forgive, love flows into the situation. We're not trying to get anything back. We're not trying to even the scales. Revenge and I don't even know what you call it. Revenge is not going to gain us anything. Ernest Holmes said this in this thing called life. He said, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Perhaps one of the greatest phrases in sacred literature, places immediate salvation within the reach of all, but automatically causes us to suffer, so long as we impose suffering. we could not ask for a more complete justice, a greater givingness. We suffer as long as we withhold forgiveness. You know, karma is the great divine balance. That's what it is. Karma is divine balance, but it's not our job. It's not our job to figure out how to make somebody suffer because of what they did to us. It's just out of our realm of possibilities. And all it does is it winds up hurting us in the long run. You know, when I take my hands off things, and you know, sometimes there's claw marks in them, I have to admit. But when I take my hands off things, when I stop trying to manipulate the situation, when I stop trying to control the outcome, when I stop trying to direct it, to coerce it, to cajole it, to threaten it, when I just put my hands up in surrender, love flows in. Love flows in. And it brings with us that healing balm, that surrender, that sweet forgiveness, that full and total and unconditional love. Dave Willis said, holding a grudge does not make us strong, it makes us bitter. Forgiving doesn't make us weak, it sets us free. It sets us free of the situation, free of the thoughts, free of the turmoil of trying to make it happen our way. Love can do that. Love can do that. Nothing else. Love can forgive. And Ernest Holmes said, forgiveness means reconciliation in spite of estrangement. It means reunion despite hostility. It means acceptance of those who have been unacceptable. It means reception of those who are rejected. And then he goes on to say the kicker. Forgiveness is unconditional or it's not forgiveness at all. So breathe that for a second. Forgiveness is unconditional or it's not forgiveness at all. And you know, we know this. We know this. In our heart, we know this. In the spirit self that we are, we know this. In that place in our heart where we are whole, perfect, and complete, we recognize this as truth. It is our spirit self saying, yes, yeah, we know this. We've all said it, you know. We've all said it time and time again. Well, I've done the work. I've forgiven them, but la, 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 right? Or I've done my work. I've forgiven her, except whatever. So everything, you know, everything before the but, that's off the table. That's not negotiable. When you say, I forgive him or I forgive her, that's not negotiable. Okay, good, then that's it. But when you say, I forgive them, but, everything after the but is your story. It's your story. I forgive her, but I hope she rots in hell. Okay, let's talk about that part, you know. I forgive him, but I swear to God, if he ever shows up at my door again, That's the story. That's the story. Anything after the but is the story. Love dissolves everything unlike itself. Love burns away everything after the but. That sounds weird. It transforms us. It's total, unconditional forgiveness. Not partial, not only if, not until then, but it transforms totally. Love flows in and it transforms the situation totally or not at all. Forgiveness is unconditional or not at all. There is only one thing, there is only love. There is not love and something. So we cannot hold on to our hate, we cannot hold on to our condemnation, we cannot hold on to our grudges and say, oh yeah, we've forgiven them. You know, remember we talked about the forgiveness means the person has safe passage through our mind. And I love that, and that's a great expression, right? You know when you've forgiven, when this person has safe passage through your mind. And what a wonderful thing that is, and what a great beginning that is, but there's more to it, isn't there? Really, there's more to it. You know you've totally forgiven when they have safe passage through our mind. When we wish them nothing but good. When we are grateful for having had the experience. Because, you know, it kicked us further down the road of spiritual unfoldment. Even if it was painful learning. when we are grateful for even having had that experience, because it led us to where we are today, because it unfolded something, it taught us something about ourselves, it forced us to even a greater understanding of what divine love is, an even greater understanding of what divine forgiveness is. It forced us to enlarge our circle. That's true forgiveness, and love can do that. Love can do that. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, the teaching of Jesus was that the universe is made up of love and law. God is love. Love is forgivingness. Love is givingness. There is a law of cause and effect which automatically compels us to reap as we sow. The day we cease to sow error, we will begin to reap truth. When we stop sowing hate, we will begin to reap love. When we stop sowing unforgiveness, we will be forgiven. When we stop sowing fear, we will reap faith. So that is our destiny. That's our divine path. That's what we're all doing here together. Isn't this wonderful? We get to do this work together where we're in a group of people who we practice loving each other unconditionally. All right, so sometimes it doesn't work. But you know what? We try the best we can, right? We bump up against each other in here. What was it Reverend Kathy Hearn used to say? We rub off our rough edges against each other. We learn to love unconditionally. We learn to accept people unconditionally. We can do it in this room with this many people and come away going, yeah, I love them. Even the pains in the asses, I love them too. You know, I mean, we love everybody in here. And if we can do it in here, we can certainly do it out there. We can certainly do it on the freeway. We can certainly do it at work. We can certainly do it with our families. This is our proving ground, you know? This is the place where we get to say, hey, you know, we can do this stuff. We can do this work. We can love unconditionally. We can forgive totally. We can forgive unconditionally and just let love just burn everything away, unlike itself, and just be here. And then what a great, great spiritual practice this is, to be in this room and do this work, so that we can take it out with us wherever we go and we can prove these principles. That's what we do here. That's what spiritual community is all about, right? Allowing the vulnerability of undefended love to just be who we are. This is who we are. This is who Vision is. This is what we are. We are undefended love right here in this room. Can you feel it? Stand up and say that. I am undefended love. I am undefended love. There you go. I am undefended love. Total, unconditional forgiveness and acceptance. Only love can do that. Thank you so much.